What's up, everyone? Anyways, welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Deck Builders episode. Anyways, I'm your host, Justin, and yeah, it's been a little bit, guys. I've been having some issues with my YouTube, which is why you guys haven't been seeing any uploads lately. I tried to do a stream the other day and try to convert it to get to YouTube, but for some odd reason, my Twitch to YouTube thing is not working right now, so I wasn't able to get the Mega Charizard video up like I would love to, but so I'll have to do it the old route. And then I tried to do it the old route, then my video conversion, when it went through the middle of it for video conversion, it started having some issues there. It just froze, so I have to restart all over on the video conversion on that again, see if I can get that back up there. Hopefully I'll be able to get it back up there one of these days soon, so you guys can go ahead and see that Mega Charizard and how I explain how Mega Charizard works. Other than that, I have been also super busy with Pokemon League as of lately, so I haven't had as much time to go ahead and do as many of these videos because I've been going to work, coming home, and then it's off the league at least, 3 to 5 times a week. So so yeah, I mean, I literally have that many type of leagues that I go to, and as a competitive player and as a casual player and someone who loves to teach people how to play, I've been having less and less time to be able to do these videos. But that's without anything to say. I'm still going to go ahead and make these videos, and on top of all that, I am working out as well. So just remember that, guys. I'm a very busy person, and I'd love to do these videos as much as I can for you guys, because honestly, these videos are for you guys, and it's for me to teach you guys how to play Pokemon TCG, and the pack battles and everything. They're all there for the community as well, and the pack openings as well. But I just want to kind of go ahead and explain things, why I haven't been able to upload videos lately, and that's partly the reason why is I've been super busy, and you guys know that this is not my income job. This is here for you guys, and I try to make this as much of a priority as I can, but unfortunately that doesn't always work out. So but without any further ado, guys, I'm gonna try to go ahead and start to remember to give out my code cards for you guys, because that's really what I love to do for you guys, to give you guys all my code cards. And so without any further ado, before we start this deck build, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys this code card, so go ahead and enjoy it. And I will have much more of these probably throughout this video, because I haven't did one in a while. So just keep in mind, throughout the video I will be giving out some more code cards, and you guys will be able to enjoy these code cards. So, and I won't even tell you when I start throwing them in there, they will just pop. So just continue watching the video, and hopefully you'll be able to get yourselves a couple packs there. And let's go ahead and get started like we normally do. This is obviously this new Zygarde deck that I made. It's a very super consistent deck. I've tested it out. I made a couple changes since the last time I did a deck test on it, and it's a very shrewd deck. It's mean. It's not a disruptive deck, obviously, but this deck is everything in the theme of this deck is to power up Zygarde. How are you going to power up Zygarde? Well, I got cards to show you guys in this deck, and everything in the theme is going to be to power up Zygarde, and then to have our backup attackers ready and going when we need to. Otherwise, Zygarde does have healing. I didn't make a healing version of Zygarde because I don't think healing is the greatest thing to do in Pokemon TCG when you're getting one-shotted anyways, especially now with the GXs being as prominent and dangerous as they are. But we do got one card in here for healing, obviously Pokemon Center Lady, and I'll explain to you guys why it's in there. Most of my decks obviously don't have Pokemon Center Lady, but I will have a link in the description of the old Zygarde deck so you guys can see it. I'm not sure if I ever made the standard version deck of Zygarde, but I know for a fact I made the expanded version of Zygarde, which is pretty much of a standard deck, just a couple cards ripped out for standard. But this is a much more deadly deck because of Lycanroc GX is in this deck. So without any further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So we got 2 Orangaroos, we got 2 Carbinks, 2 Carbink breaks, and I'll explain to you guys why I have Carbink in here still, even though he's not really prominent in the EX factors anymore due to the GXs being out. Got Rock'n'Ruffs, 2 of them, 2 Lycanroc GXs, 2 Regirock EXs, and 3 Zygarde EXs. Obviously, he's our main attacker, so we'll have more of him. 3 Parallel Cities, 1 Power Memory, 2 Fighting Fury Belts, and 3 Float Stones. And you'll be thinking to yourself, why do you have so many of them in there if you don't have a Sneasel Weevil combo? Well, I'll explain it to you guys here in a bit, and I'll show you what the bench will look like when when I have them all. We got one Ultra Ball, which is rare. You almost never go without Ultra Ball, but we got a card in here that's going to replace that. So, 2 Trainer's Mail, and here it is. 3 Nest Balls. That's because I'm running all basics except for 2 cards. 2 Max Elixirs. It's because I'm running low on energies, and you'll see why I only run 2 of those. 4 VS Seekers. There's the Pokemon Center Lady. Brock's Grit. Lycanroc ×2. Professor Kukuiwe. 2 of them. 2 Ns. And 4 Professor Sycamores. 4 Strong Energies. And 8 basic Fighting Energies. So, I have a few things to go ahead and explain to you guys. Why is this deck so deadly? And if you guys are watching, you will see that this deck has a center point of being very deadly because of its powering up abilities. So, let's go ahead and get started in explaining what this deck is about. So we got 2 Ringaroos. Obviously, Ringaroo is here for backup attacker for Psychic. Does 60 damage, plus does 20 more damage times the amount of energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. Basically Mewtwo. 2 retreat costs. So we need that Float Stone in there if we have him on our bench, which we will. He's a must need in the bench to get your draw support. 120 HP, but the reason why we really have him in here is obviously for the draw support and instruct. Once during your turn, before your attack, you may draw until you had 3 cards in your hand. And this is why we have Oranguru in here, so we can get those cards out ASAP when we need them. This deck is you're going to easily be able to get your hand down real quickly, real easily. So, I mean, if you know how to play, you know how to get your hand down. Now we run 2 Carbinks. EXs are still very prominent in this format, so Carbink is alright to have in this format still. So Safeguard is good, it's a good shut-off, and Power Gem for 40, we're not going to really use him as an attacker. Unless the opponent has only all EX Pokemon, which sometimes they do. 90 HP is obviously not that great, but the 1 retreat cost isn't a big deal if we have him out in the field. But the cool thing about having Carbink is his break card coming up here, and that's obviously the reason why we have 2 of them. The 2 Carbink breaks, and that's for Diamond Gift. Now, obviously, his Safeguard ability still works while he's in Break Evolution, but the reason why we use Carbink Break, obviously, is for his Diamond Gift. He may have 110 HP, so he's not that hefty. He can get one-shotted real easily, but we're going to need to power up Zygarde somehow. We're going to need a way to power up Lycanroc's GX somehow, or Regirock, which he is also a backup attacker in this deck. Somehow, some way, and that's with Diamond Gift. Obviously does 20 damage, and then attach 2 energy cards from your discard pile to one of your fighting Pokemon. It's any of them, any energy. So we got also a fighting energy just for 1. So this is why we have Carbink Break in here. It's kind of a must in most fighting decks nowadays in Standard, if you want to, do fighting energy acceleration. So 2 Rockruffs. We're not going to really ever use them as an attacker, but if you start with them, obviously you're going to have to use them as an attacker. So I guess if you start with him and then you get into GX fast enough, Rockruff is not a bad starter. He's just not the greatest. You don't want to start with him, but there's a good chance you might. And if you do, it's not a big deal because you can sacrifice one of them to have another one if you need to. Because Lycanroc GX, his evolved form, is honestly a late game use. And I will explain that here in a second, but we can use him as an attacker. I've gotten this guy all the way up from turn 1. He did like 80 to 100 damage just with the Pokemon I have in here. So it's not impossible, but it's a situational card that definitely, if you have to use him as a backup attacker or first attacker, it's there. But the cool thing is, he only has 1 retreat cost, so you can get him off of the active ASAP real quickly. And hopefully you do, because Lycanroc GX is not really the starting type Pokemon you want. He's not bad. 200 HP for a fighting Pokemon. And then for Crunch, he does 30 damage for a fighting energy. And the colorless, discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Now that is all right. Just disruptive card, but we're not making a disruptive deck out of this. We're really going to be using Lycanroc GX for his GX attack for late game. So he's really going to be sitting on the bench, and we're going to use Lycanroc so that we can get him to use the 200 damage. Discard 2 energies from this Pokemon. Not a big deal because we got Carbink, we have Brock's Grit, so it's not like it's the end of the world, but we have Lycanroc here for that specific reason, for the 200 damage, and it's real easy for us to get up to higher than that just with Professor's Kukuiwe, right? 220 damage. Then you got 2 Regirocks, 240 damage. You know, it's ridiculous how fast you can get those, you know, that damage up there real quickly, real easily. So, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's not going to be easy either, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to change that, the Fighting Fury Belts probably with Choice Band later on when it comes out in the next set, because Choice Band will give him another 30 more damage to do more damage, one-shotting any GX Pokemon out there. So right now we're doing 240, so you're pretty much, you know, lower than expected, unfortunately, because this deck, you don't want to put three Regirock EXs in this deck. 3 is overkill. You're gonna have to use, you know, Skyfield in order to use the, you know, have 3 of them out there. Plus, you need to have 4 Float Stones, which I think is also overkill in your deck. 3 of them is already hard enough as it is, but there's a reason why we run 3 Float Stones in this deck. But it's not bad to have 3 Regirocks. Just the consistency goes down a lot, and you don't want that to happen. Especially you don't want to start with a Regirock EX. So, but you know, his weakness is actually grass. It's not the greatest weakness in the world, considering a lot of grass is prominent right now, but it's not too bad. But the GX attack, you know, really might catch someone off guard. Let's say if Incineroar is at 250 HP, right? Let's say if he's down to like just 20 HP or less than 20, let's say 40 HP is down to him. We can still pop out Lycanroc GX and one-shot him with that GX attack. We also have Accelerock, which does 120 damage. Now you put a Professor Kukuiwe on there, that's 140. Plus the 2 Regirocks is, you know, that's 160 damage just for 2 energies and a colorless, which is not bad. So that's also kind of go ahead and give you guys self a thought into that process as well. We got 2 Regirocks, and obviously the main reason why we're using Regirock isn't because of his HP. His HP is 180, and really we're not going to put Fighting Fury Belt on him because it's not worth it to put it on Regirock EX because of his ability and his retreat cost. So his retreat cost is 3. That's the thing that sucks about him, but you know what? He's not too bad when you got a Float Stone on. Why? Because his ability, which is Regipower, the attacks of your fighting Pokemon, excluding Regirock EX, do 10 damage more to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. So you're hitting for some massive damage just by adding 2 more bench Pokemon that have plus 10. That's 20 more damage on your bench from your reactive. I mean, that's crazy. And Bedrock Press, which is 100 damage during your opponent's next turn, and damage done by this Pokemon by attack is reduced by 20. So it's not too bad when you use his Bedrock Press. 100 damage, Kukuiwe, it's 120. Unfortunately, Regirock doesn't stack on himself. So, but it's, you know, it's not bad for 120 for 3 fighting energies if you have to use Regirock as a backup attacker. So just remember, he's possibly out there also as a backup attacker, but you're going to have him Fighting Fury Belt on him. So you could get easily one-shotted by a GX attack. But don't worry, I wouldn't even be worried about Lunala, because Lunala will get shotted quicker in this, because I've had so many battles with Lunala with this deck testing, that Lunala is just not going to power up fast enough by the time Zygarde just blows her away. So we got Zygarde EX as our basic. In one-shotter, obviously, he's our main attacker at 190 HP, but you put a Fighting Fury Belt on there, I believe that goes up to 220 HP, or 230, just around there. So we do have Fighting Fury Belt for this Pokemon in particular. Only thing that sucks is that his retreat is at 3, but you will never have more than 2 Zygardes out there, or honestly, you really only have 1, then use the backup attacker as Lycanroc GX to get ready as the attacker, right? So that's the whole point of him having out here. We're going to have Zygarde as our main primary attacker, and the reason why is because Zygarde, if we can get a Zygarde start, this is crazy. For Lance Pulse, that's 20 plus. If there's any stadium card out there in play, the stat does 20 more damage. Now here's the cool thing, we have 2 stadiums in our deck. 3 stadiums in her deck, so it's easy for us to put a stadium out there. Most decks right now run stadiums. So the cool thing about Land's Pulse is that it's already doing 40 damage probably turn 1. More than likely turn 1 you're doing 40 damage. But with a high chance of getting Pokemon into your bench with Regirock due to our Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, and Oranguru to be able to get her cards out, Sycamores, it's real easy to go from 20 to 40 to 60 because of the 2 Regirocks out there. And don't even get me started, guys. Turn 1 we could have 80 damage just with strong energy because that adds another 20 damage. So that is crazy, guys. You'd be doing 80 damage, probably one shot and knocking out anything on the field with one hit. 80 damage is ridiculous, and it's easy to win a game just on turn 1 by benching them out. So with Zygarde, I encourage you guys not to go first with Zygarde. Go second. Zygarde, you go second because he's the primary attacker, and you can get a one-shot kill turn 1 really easily. I've done it with Kyle in deck testing, and it just devastates people. Super quick when you get one shot. And Yu-Gi-Oh turns for you guys, this would be OTK, FTK for a Pokemon deck because of this attack right here. Easy to get 80 damage out turn 1. Now, let's say if we got Zygarde for the second attack. So let's say Zygarde takes 30 damage. We got Cellstorm, does 60 damage. Plus heals 30 damage for fighting in a colorless energy. That's why we have Pokemon Center Lady to heal 90 damage. Obviously, Pokemon Center Lady heals the condition, plus gets rid of 30 damage, and 60 damage, plus this attack gets rid of 30 damage. And then not only that, but we're doing, let's say you already got the 2 energies of the strong energies attached. So that's another 40 damage because 20 for fighting energy. So it's 100 damage already, 60, 80, 100, right? Plus the 2 Regirocks. That's 120 damage, just one attack. Again, potentially could win the game just turn 2 if you go second. Okay. And then finally, Land's Wrath. You put on all 4 of them if you need to, but 3 of them is way overkill already of strong energy if you need them. And then you have Land's Wrath. 100 damage. You're looking at doing 120, 40, 60, 80, and then Kukui. That's 200 damage just with Land's Wrath, guys. And then you put another one on there that's 220. That's devastating. And then you got one more attack, which is Power Memory, which we only run a 1 of because it's situational purposes, right? But it's all selves burned. This is the equipment card, obviously. Equips to Zygarde, and you see his attack. Does 200 more damage, but you get to discard all 3. It's a situational card, and you wouldn't have the Fighting Fury belt on him because you would use all Souls Burn, and you would. It's situational, so it depends. If Zygarde gets knocked out, you put this on here for the next Zygarde to get powered up, so you start using it. So if your opponent's using a lot of high-end HP Pokemon, you would want to have all Souls Burned attached to Zygarde. So you're looking at 200 damage, so all 4 energies attached to Zygarde, they're strong energies, that's 20, 40, 60, 80 damage, plus the 2 Regirocks, it's 300 damage, plus a Kukuiwe, that's 320. There's nothing in the game that can survive a 300 attack damage, guys. That is ridiculously OP. And like I said, this whole deck here is specifically made to power up this Pokemon here, Zygarde, and unfortunately his weakness is grass, so we got to worry about Rantis and Decidueye, but we're not too concerned or worried about him because Zygarde's one-shotting Tauros. He's one-shotting Yveltal, and that's a pretty beautiful sight because I love that. I hate those 2 Pokemon and with a passion, and we're going to go into this knowing that we can kill them. So let me go ahead and show you guys what the bench might look like if you ever get a perfect bench, which there's a good chance you probably will get the perfect bench. Well, let's see. I'll show you a situational turn 1 perfect bench. 4, and there we go. That would be a situational turn 1 perfect bench. Obviously, we would have the 2 float stones on these guys. and then you would have a Float Stone on this guy, Fighting Fury Belt on this guy, and that would be really what would look like situationally just overpowering. Now, it might take you a couple turns to get that, but you know what? These for sure are going to be ASAP. You need to get out. This guy can wait a little bit, and this guy can wait a little bit, but this guy has to be out there ASAP. So if you guys get a chance to get those guys out first, and Zygarde you would want as the first attacker. But again, if you have to start with a Rockruff, he's got only one energy retreat cost. Same with Carbink and Oranguru. Well, he's a backup attacker, so it's not a big deal if you start with him. You got another Oranguru in there if you need to use it for an attacker, and then that's pretty much how that goes. But you know, it's ridiculous. Just the possibilities with this type of deck. And people are like, oh, it's too many Pokemon. It's not too many Pokemon. I'm only running, I think, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. I'm running only 14 Pokemon, guys. That's ridiculous. And all but four Pokemon are basics. So we got 2 breaks and then 2 stage 1s. Parallel City, obviously we're going to be using this to drop your opponent's bench by 3. Obviously this doesn't affect us because we're running Fighting Energy Pokemon. So it doesn't do any less damage, but it drops their bench by 3. And that gives us a huge advantage because, you know what? Those things on their bench are going to get one-shotted by Zygarde. So, yeah, that's dangerous for them. And I just love the fact that you can go ahead and put up Parallel City and just devastate them. It's not really for disruption. It's just there to give you the advantage. Really big advantage over them, for sure. Okay, so now we have Power Memory, obviously. Just explained this to you guys. It's for that final, just in case, let's say Zygarde gets knocked out and it's a situation. You need to put the Power Memory on him. You put it on him, boom. You start powering him up and you just knock out you just obliterate him. Basically, it's your other GX attack that you can constantly use, right? Pretty much. 2 Fighting Fury Belts. Obviously, it raises the HP of all the Pokemon in here for situational purposes, except for Carbink Break and Lycanroc GX. But you know what? For most of this deck is basics, except for 4 of them. It's pretty cool. More than likely, you're going to use this for Zygarde. I guarantee you it. For 40 HP plus, and then it does 10 more damage. So let's say if Zygarde does have that, and so now all the things I just said about Zygarde, you need to add another damage counter with him. So that's pretty crazy. So this is a rare occasion in a deck where we run 3 Float Stones. What's the last deck I threw up here that had 3 Float Stones in them? That was the Voltal. Voltal EX was the only deck that I know of where I put 3 Float Stones in. That's because it required it. Unfortunately, this deck requires you to have 3 to 4 Float Stones in your deck. And I think 4 Float Stones is kind of overkill because there's other things you can do with your deck. But 3 of them itself is pushing it, but you need it because you got a Oranguru. You're going to have one of them on your bench. You need it because you're going to have 2 Regirocks out on your bench. And without those Float Stones, your opponent's going to Lysander, and they're just going to stall. You're going to prevent the stall with these Float Stones, and you don't want them to stall, because that's horrible. It's horrible that they can stall you, and you don't want that to happen, because you don't want to sacrifice any of these Pokemon. So you're putting Float Stone in here for preventive measures, and you're probably saying to yourself, why not Switch? Well, Switch works, but I have no space in the deck to run Switch, so if it's only a one-time thing with Switch, and a Float Stone is an all-the-time thing, as long as it doesn't get hit by Rattata, why not run Float Stones? Because chances are Rattata is not going to be used unless it's in Rayquaza, right? So Float Stone is the better option here, especially when you're running 3 retreat cost Pokemon. That's just ridiculous. You need to have something to keep them away from being stalled. Ultra Ball, discard 2 cards from your hand and draw out a Pokemon from your deck. Obviously, Ultra Ball is here for just obviously Lycanroc. That's all it is here for. Is for Lycanroc. GX. That's it. That's why we only run 1. I don't need to Lycanroc really is an end game Pokemon or middle game Pokemon. You're just using them for the GX attack, and then maybe using it for a secondary attack if you need to as a backup attacker. But really, that's it. That's the only reason why you're having Ultra Ball in here. 2 Trainers Mail. Unfortunately, we don't have space for a third one. And that's okay because Trainers Mail is not needed in this deck as much because our deck is more prominently for use of supporters, which is all right. And the supporters are important in this deck, and we'll get to it. But the trainer here, Trainers Mail, obviously take a look at the top 4 cards of your deck. If you see a trainer card there, except for Trainers Mail, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, shuffle your cards back in your deck. It's a consistency card, so it's not super needed. And since we do got a Rangaroo, more than likely we're gonna have our hand shifted down to 3, so we can draw at least 1 to 2 cards, 3 cards per turn with a Rangaroo. It's not as needed in these kind of decks, and the beauty about these decks is that we also got cards like Sycamore and kukuiwe, which are constantly drawing cards, so we can drop a Trainer's Mail for the consistency since there's so much consistency already going with this deck. Nest Ball is one of our most consistent cards in this deck, and obviously we run it for consistency and because we are running mostly all just basic Pokemon. We're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 basic Pokemon, guys, out of the 14. So, 15, I guess. I don't know. I can't remember how many Pokemon we have. But we have 11 there. And that's ridiculous considering that we, no, 14. That we are running that many basic Pokemon in this deck. And that's okay because we have Nest Ball. I would like to put another Nest Ball in there, but I really don't see the point in putting another Nest Ball in there, considering we do need that 1 Ultra Ball just in case for Lycanroc. So 3 is overkill, 4 is real overkill, but 3 is it's a good amount. I think 3 is great since everything is basic and nothing gets shut off by just throwing them on your bench. 2 Max Elixirs, and the only reason why we're running 2 Max Elixirs instead of 3 Max Elixirs is because obviously we're going to sift them through our deck super quickly already to begin with, and the chances of you hitting with Max Elixir in this deck is unfortunately lower due to only having 8 basic energies. And since we're running only 8 fighting energies, the other 4 being special energies, which are strong energies, we don't need as many Max Elixirs. Now, the bare minimum in most decks would be 3, right? 4 to 3. This deck only requires 2 because we're running only 8. If I would have jumped up 1 more energy, we could have put another one of these guys in there, but 9 energies for 3 Max Elixirs, you know, it's possibly. Really, the only reason why we have it in here is to start powering up your backup attacker. It's not necessary for Zygarde because Zygarde is going to be already in your active more than likely. And if he's not in your active, he's on your bench, and you're probably sacrificing so you can get Zygarde up there, or you're going to retreat to get Zygarde up there ASAP anyways. So Max Elixir is just there for really your backup attacker. So like Lycanroc GX or Regirock GX or EX or something that's going to be your backup attacker, and anything in this deck could be a backup attacker, as you guys know. So VS Seeker, we are running actually 4 of them. I don't know why I only grabbed 2 of them, but this is one of the most important cards I have in your deck. Obviously, VS Seeker is just crazy. Put a support card from this card in your hand. It's a consistency card, and it's something that you need, so you can go ahead and grab any of your supporters from your discard and use them. And since we run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 supporters, that's a lot in a deck, guys. I don't think you guys realize that, but that's a lot in a deck. We need VS Seeker, and it's a minimum of 4 in this deck, regardless of what people say. We need 4. The minimum in any deck would be ran is 3, but I think 4 is needed because of how many we're running. So our first supporter we have is Pokemon Center Lady. Obviously explained this to you guys earlier about why we use Pokemon Center Lady, and that's because Zygarde. So you can go ahead and heal him up to 90 damage, and we can use her again with VS Seeker if it's needed for a situational purpose. Pokemon Center Lady is probably one of the most cards that are going to piss people off. But the beauty about Pokemon Center Lady is that we got cards out there like Lapras GX, which their GX paralyzes, right? But only does 100 damage. So the beauty about Pokemon Center Lady is it nullifies that attack. and you're no longer paralyzed. Only did 100 damage, so you take away 60 of it. That's 40 damage. Then Zygarde can attack that turn, doing another 30 damage to get rid of that. It's 60 damage with his attack, and then healing himself with another 30. Really, the Zapdos only did 10 damage. Or 20. I can't do my math very well, but it's there. Pokemon Silent Lady is devastating in this deck, and it will piss people off. But there's a reason why this deck is well within the meta, and it's for that purpose. It works with it because of Zygarde. Brock's Grit. Now, this is a situational card. It's a tech card. We're not going to really use Brock's Grit in this deck because we got Carbink. Now, let's say if Carbink got killed, and we only have 2 of them, or they got prized, or something happened, something stupid happened, or something you needed to prevent yourself from decking. Now, this is why we run Brock's Grit. Shuffle 6 cards in in any combination of Pokemon or basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. Really, it's a situational tech card. Lysander. Yeah, I finally got a full art right. Lysander here obviously is a switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with his active Pokemon. Get the cheap, easy kill, or we're going to go ahead and use Lysander for a stall. Pretty much it. Pretty much it. We run 2 Professor's Kukuiwe, obviously for consistency, for draw 2 cards, and it also does 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Obviously giving us a chance for instant knockout. Professor Kukuiwe is must-need in this deck because Zygarde, it works with Zygarde's powering. It just works with this deck really, really well. So we run Professor's Kukuiwe. And we're not going to ever use it for draw support. We're just going to use it for an attack, to boost the attack, but we will get 2 more cards because of the draw support. So that's why we're using Kukuiwe in there. It's teched in there, not really for a supporter, for the draw support, but mainly for the extra damage. So now we got N. And if you guys are wondering why I run Kukuiwe instead of Giovanni, it's because it does both instead of just pick one or the other. Giovanni's obviously obsolete now. I'd much rather have both instead of one or the other. So that's why we run Kukuiwe over Giovanni. Now we're running N. We only run 2 N's because we got a Ringaroo. We got 2 Ringaroos. You don't need any more than 2 N's. You got plenty enough draw support in this deck. The reason why we run N is just to screw around with your opponent. It's a consistency card, and really, honestly, it's just to screw your opponent. Just a card screw them because, you know, if they're in the lead, you can just drop them down to 1 card. That's why N's in here. It's his only purpose. I mean, if you need the extra cards, N's there, and if you don't want to discard, N is there. So that's another option that you can have with N, but really, it's just there to disrupt. And it's a good card. It's a good card because if you don't want to discard those cards from Sycamore, you will have N to do so. But like I said, it's not needed for draw support so much because we got Ringaroo. Professor Sycamore. And you're wondering why we're running Professor Sycamore when we got Ringaroo. Well, Sycamore allows us to discard a hand, then draw some cards. Ringaroo doesn't allow us to discard a hand, right? So we need something that's going to have a form of discarding because this is the only card other than the one Ultra Ball that we have in the deck to do discards. So Professor Sycamore's in here to get us to go ahead and thin our deck and to get us a brand new fresh hand. It's the most powerful supporter card that we know of, guys, and you guys all know that. So we run Professor Sycamore. Can't tell you how many games I've won just because of Professor Sycamore. And I also can't tell you how many games I've lost due to decking myself out. But you know what? Professor Sycamore is such a good card. We run 4 of them for consistency. You wouldn't run anything lower than 3, but 4 of them for consistency. And because Sycamore is just such a good card, we run them for those options. Because you could drop it down to 3. You don't need 4 of them in this particular deck, but I do it for the consistency so you can have more of a chance of getting that turn 1 Sycamore if you need them. Strong Energy. Strong Energy is here, obviously, for powering up Zygarde. He's a dangerous card, and you need dangerous energy. Not the actual dangerous energy, but dangerous energy equipped to Zygarde to do even more dangerous damage. And Strong Energy is going to give it to you. You can do a maximum of 20 damage per energy card that you have on them. And And the cool thing is about the fighting, the strong energy here is that it stacks. So it's 20, 40, 60, 80 damage total, you know, for extra damage. And then the 8 energies that we have that are basics are here, obviously, to power up our Pokemon. That's it. That's it, guys. So, go ahead and enjoy these code cards, guys. I have one more for you guys. And, yeah. Anyways, guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for your support, guys. I know it's been a while since I did a video, but like I said, I've been pretty busy. But if you guys get a chance to also hit up my guys over at galactictoys.com for all your Pokemon needs. They have all the Pokemon cards you need. Singles, bulk, whatever you call it, man, they got for you guys. If you guys need a card, just hit them up and they will send it to you guys if you pay for them. They also are located out in Kentwood area and for the open store. If you guys live here in Michigan and you live or in the Kentwood area or Holland area, somewhere that's near, drive out to them, guys. They're awesome guys. Hit them up on their Pokemon page on Facebook, which they do league. I go to the league every Wednesday usually. And they also do tournaments every Saturday. So if you guys get a chance to hit them up. And as always, guys, thank you so much for your support. And I will see you guys later. Peace out, guys. Bye. Enjoy this, by the way.